Today I'm going to be cooking a birthday cake for my wife Anna. This is a bit of a experimental recipe. I've sort of pulled together a few ideas off Pinterest and some cake recipes I've got and sort of mixed them all up. So the idea is, if all goes to plan, that I bake 4 chocolate sponge cakes. So I've got these tins, so I'll do two sets of 2 in the oven, and I'll make that, so they're going to be a vegan cake, so it's going to be made with bananas instead of eggs, and the idea is that there's a layer of chocolate sponge, then a layer of Nutella, a layer of chocolate sponge, a layer of peanut butter, another layer of sponge, another layer of Nutella, another layer of sponge, and then all that will be covered in chocolate fudge icing, the Betty Crocker one, and then around the outside of it will be coated in hazelnuts, and I might actually put some of these in the sponge cake as well, I'm not sure yet. And then on the top, so I'll put some of those on the top as well if I've got enough, and then I'm going to put some of these Ferreo Rocher, put maybe like 6 around the top, just to decorate it a little bit, and then of course there's some candles to go on the top. Yeah, so first things first, I'm going to make some chocolate sponge cake mixture and get them in the oven. And as I said, I will do 2 rounds of baking, so I've only got 2 shallow tins. So I'll do those and I'll do another 2, and then I'll start thinking about putting it all together. So first things first, I've put the oven on to heat up, and I've put it on about 180 degrees C. Then I'm going to weigh out the sugar. So this is caster sugar, and I'm going to use 200 grams. I'm not sure if this is going to make enough for 2 or the 4 of the cake, so we'll see how much mixture it makes. So next up, I'm going to add 200 grams of this margarine spread. So I'm using the pure sunflower spread. So that's the spread and the sugar, so I'm just going to mix them together so they combine. So that's the sugar and the margarine spread combined. So now I'm going to weigh out 200 grams of flour and add that. As I go along, I'm going to make a tweak to my recipe. I just remembered that I've got some self-raising flour, so instead of the plain flour and the baking powder, I'm going to just put self-raising flour in, because I hate using the other way because it's getting easier to get wrong. So I've just mashed up 3 smallish bananas, and I've just added a couple of, probably a tablespoon of water. So I'm just going to add that to the mixture and mix that up. And then one last thing, I forgot to put this in with the flour, so I'm just going to mix in the cocoa powder. So I just got about a tablespoon cocoa powder. So there we have the mixture, so I just need to put that in the 2 pans and get that in the oven. So there's my 2 pans ready to go in the oven. So I did grease them with some of the margarine before I put the cake mixture in. And that mixture did only do the 2 pans, so I'll make up some more while that's in the oven. As I'm going a bit experimental today anyway, I thought I'd go nuts. So I've only got 2 bananas left, so I've mashed up 2 bananas, and I've got a tablespoon of peanut butter as well, which is another egg replacer. So I'm going to mix them up and add that to my mixture and see how that works out. So here's the first 2 out of the oven. They look good, look quite soft. So yeah, I'm going to turn them out onto this baking tray, onto this cooling rack, and put the other 2 in the oven. So I've now got my 4 cakes. So they're all out of the oven and they've cooled down. So what I've decided to do, after having a little bit of a taste of the cakes and have a think about it, I'm going to layer the cakes with Nutella, And then layered with the Nutella, I'm going to put a few hazelnuts in between each layer, and then I'm going to coat the outside in the Betty Crocker and put the hazelnuts around the side and on the top. So the second layer's on, so I'm going to repeat the process. So the 4 layers are now together, sandwiching the Nutella. I have to say that's gone together quite nicely. So now I've got to cover it in the chocolate icing and add more hazelnuts. So I've now got all the icing all the way around and on top. So the next step is to cover it in chopped hazelnuts. So I've now got all of the hazelnuts on the cake all the way round. I've used just over 1 bag for the whole thing, so that actually went a lot further than I thought. I bought quite a few bags, so that's really good. Quite pleased with the way they've stuck. I just pushed them on my hand. Oh yeah, looking good. So one last step, just got to put the Ferrero Rocher on.